While many of us loved and admired Queen Elizabeth II from a distance, a handful of Australians had the privilege of meeting her in real life and, in some extraordinary cases, working with her.
Former royal maid from Adelaide, Amber Kemp, spent time in Buckingham Palace and she joins us now. Good morning, Amber. Firstly,
good morning.
How on earth do you get a job like this?
I went to do my sort of 2-year gap year in London, as a lot of us did. This was back in 2005. And I had a friend of mine sort of mention as a throwaway comment that he even knew someone that worked in Buckingham Palace, and I certainly piqued my interest. And I went, oh, that sounds like something I might want to do. So I went on their website and filled in all the application forms and hounded them a little bit once I got over there, and eventually got myself a job in Buckingham Palace.
Was it unusual for an Aussie to be in Buckingham Palace, and many of you there?
There were a few of us here. There were quite a few that were from the far-flung parts of the Commonwealth. So a few Canadians and New Zealand and South Africans that were working there as well.
There's always a Kiwi, isn't there?
Yes,
They managed to find their way in.
Do you remember what she was like?
She was lovely. All the royals were just such beautiful people. The Queen was always polite and gracious and made you feel so comfortable when you were in her presence. Always, when we had the opportunity to talk to her, she was always happy for a little joke and a little giggle. She had a great sense of humour, and it was really, really lovely, and such a privilege to have met her.
I imagine you must have had some pretty memorable times while you were at Buckingham Palace. Were there any others that you bumped into in the corridors there? I actually nearly walked into Charles and Camilla on Christmas Day with a tea tray. I was maiding for Princess Anne and cleaning out her room and walking out of her room with a tea tray, and Charles and Camilla come along and they're like, "Happy Christmas!" So, yeah, very surreal moments, that's for sure. So you met the future king too?
That's right.
Indeed. I met all the royals except for Harry. He's the only one I didn't meet while I was there.
And how were the rest of the royals?
Oh, all of them were just wonderful.
Yeah.
All really, really lovely people. You know, they, behind closed doors, they are really such ordinary people. They're just living in such extraordinary situations. And it's a life I do not envy. I would not want to live under the spotlight that they live under, but I think they all do it with such grace and humility, and I just have so much admiration for them.
And your time there, of course, coincided with a pretty significant milestone for the Queen at Buckingham Palace for her 80th birthday. That's pretty special.
Absolutely. I was very lucky to be there for the year of the 80th birthday. Lots of celebrations, obviously, ranging from the Trooping of the Colour, which, you know, we obviously saw the one for the Jubilee recently, and her 80th birthday was a very similar size celebration. I was lucky enough to actually be standing on the roof of Buckingham Palace under the giant Royal Standard flag while the Queen was on the balcony below. So that was a pretty special moment.
What were you doing up there, you little convict?
You know the right people.
Pull the strings.
And what of Charles being king now? I know you saw him personally. How do you think that he'll adapt?
I think he'll do a wonderful job.
Yeah.
I think he's, you know, been wanting this for so long, and he's been in training for such a long time, and you can't have a better role model than the Queen to follow. I think it's going to be a big change, and I think things will be different, but I really hope that his passion and love for the environment will be a strong focus for him, and I really think that it's the right time to have a leader like him leading a great example in the world.
It suits current agendas, doesn't it? Hey, why did you leave?
My visa was up and I came back to do university. So I did about 14 months there, and I was lucky to do a full calendar. So I travelled to all the other royal households. So I've been to Balmoral and Sandringham, Holyrood House and Windsor. And I'm just so glad that the Queen was at Balmoral when she passed. It was definitely her favourite place. When I was there, when she was 80, she was still horse riding every day, out walking the corgis every day. She just adored that place. So,
what did you love about her?
Just the ordinariness, and I think you know, we hear her voice is so iconic. You know, every time we hear it, we know exactly who it is. But hearing her talk about very ordinary things like a crossword clue or something that's on a quiz show or something mundane that happened in the day was a very pinch yourself moment. That's for sure.
Did she like a gin?
Yes, her routine was pretty standard every day. Had, you know, high tea at 5 o'clock, and then always had a tipple before dinner at 8:30. So yeah, she certainly liked. I think she did mix it up, but gin and champagne and a few other lovely drinks
Good
too.
on her.
Why wouldn't you?
What a legend.
And you've got to enjoy your life, hey?
Yeah,
That's how you get to 96.
Absolutely.
Hey, really lovely to talk to you. Thanks so much for sharing those stories.
You're very
Appreciate
welcome.
it.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Well, he was a young boy with big dreams to be a butler, and at the age of 21, they all came true.
Martin Higgins spent close to 4 years as a member of the royal household at Buckingham Palace, and he joins us now. Martin, it's wonderful to see you. Now, you spent some time, obviously, with the royals. The Queen's passing must have been difficult for you.
It was such a shock. I mean, having been working there and along with the Queen Mother, who died at 101, we really thought that it was going to be, you know, she'd reach the 100 mark. And of course, there's no indication that there was any serious illness. So of course, you know, one day she was meeting the Prime Minister, and then everything was fine. And the next time we met, we heard it was, yeah, she was on death's door. So I think for most of the country, certainly me included, it was the fact that there was no real warning, and then within a matter of hours, she'd passed.
Very sudden.
It was very numbing and surreal. And I think the mood in the country really seems to be one of reflection of an amazing lady who led the country through all of our lives as the only constant that we know in this, you know, crazy world that we're living at the moment.
So you're a young boy. You dream of being a butler.
It's a sad day.
Yeah, it is a sad day.
Yes.
Let's go back to those happier times.
And unbelievably.
21 years of age, you achieve your dream
That's
job.
right.
What was it like?
It was amazing. I remember my first experience. I'd started just before Christmas, so the palace was all lit up for a Christmas ball. And seeing that, wondering, I had to go and see the personnel office, and the palace was closed. But walking from room to room, opening one door into the next, going from, I think it was the state dining room, into the blue drawing room, into the white drawing room, all these rooms that I'd never witnessed and seen before, suddenly opened before me. It was like being in a dream.
Oh.
And then, of course, a few days later, we went over to Sandringham, where I met the royal family for the first time. And, you know, first saw the corgis, which I instantly fell in love with. And then the first dinner, around one table, you had the Queen, the Duke of Edinburgh, the Prince and Princess of Wales, the Queen Mother. And it was just, as I say, like another dream. And, of course, at those days, didn't really have any real etiquette or protocol training. You were literally thrown in at the deep end. And luckily, I swam, I didn't sink, which was
Yes.
which allowed me to be there for more than 3
Well,
years.
you are devilishly suave. I hear along the way you ended up dancing with the
You're
Queen at one
terribly
point.
kind. Yes, I mean, that was, again, I mean, an incredible moment. It was at Balmoral, which was a lovely castle. And every year they would hold a Gillies Ball where all the estate workers, staff, neighbours and royal family would attend. And Scottish dancing, which luckily I knew how to do. Anyway, the first dance you start off with is what we call the Paul Jones, where all the ladies hold hands in an inner circle and dance in one direction, and then all the chaps hold hands and dance in another direction. Once the music stops, the person you're facing is your partner. And of course, this one time the music stopped, and I was facing the Queen. And it was like, oh my goodness. Anyway, she looked at me, I looked at her, and she smiled. I mean, she was wonderful at putting people at their ease. Anyway, I was absolutely petrified. So anyway, we started. And of course, it wasn't a Scottish dance. This was a slow, quick step, where you're supposed to put your arm around the Queen. And of course, the protocol is you shouldn't really be doing that. So literally, I was kind of air dancing with the Queen for about 5 minutes, which seemed like an eternity. And I mean, she had amazing humour and wit. So, you know, one of the things she said was, do you like Balmoral, Martin? So oh, it's wonderful, I said, Your Majesty. So I'm so glad. I'm so glad my great-grandmother bought it, aren't you? Of course, I'm delighted.
That is so
I think
lovely.
after that, I think 2 stiff, dry martinis, I could actually, stop shaking.
That helps every
Only 2? Thank you, Martin, for sharing a couple of those stories.
Really
again, I could
beautiful.
talk to you all day about your memories, and we'll probably try and get you back in later in the week. We appreciate your time. Watching the Today YouTube channel.
Subscribe now for brand new videos every day and exclusive bonus clips.
Ali, say please.
Please? Why?
Please? I don't know.